Welcome to Motor Spins. Hello there, gearheads. I'm your girl, Jen Barlow. I want to introduce you to my little friend, this Black Wonder, the 2012 328i. This is a year that is highly sought after. Over 400,000 of these bad boys out on the road, and this is something that you could put in your very own garage for like $10,000. To tell you more about it, I'm going to bring in my friend, Morgan. What are we working with?
2-liter turbo engine with 240 horsepower. Lots of torque. I was obsessed about the motor. The transmission's pretty good. It's not too heavy. Good car.
Yeah, it's a good car. Let's pop the hood. I feel like we need to showcase it, show it off a little bit. Just jumping off the page, you have what? 240 brake horsepower.
Yeah.
How much torque did you say comes stock in this?
280, somewhere around there.
280. Okay, pound-feet of torque.
This is a super easy thing that anybody with a BMW can do. Is you modify the engine. Now there's two different ways of doing this. I've gone the simple way, which is just a simple little bypass. You can also do EQ tuning, and that changes and flashes the EQ. So you can have someone come and download that in, and that really gives them full control of the engine.
Okay, so this is a 2-liter. This is not a 2.8 liter. If you wanted that extra boost, if you wanted the 6-cylinder.
Yeah, if you want more power, the 335 is great. You can tune that to 400 horsepower in the blink of an eye. And then if you want even more power, you can have an M3 where you get all the fancy stuff, which is super cool.
So, also updated for the 2012 year, they gave it a little bit more of an aggressive front end, so a little bit of styling updates on the front. Okay, so obviously you've got your understated kidney grille, synonymous with BMW. You've got that aggressive styling, almost like a front lip edge to it. So let's go around to the other side and talk about the fact that this is a base model, and you know that just by glancing at the wheels, correct?
Yeah. They're Star Spoke Type 393 wheels.
So 17-inch, hard, all-weather tire.
Yeah, you can get like 40,000, maybe more out of a really hard tire.
It's like, check. Fuel efficiency, check. BMW Ultimate Driving Machine, check. Extra horsepower, love it. In terms of the back end of a BMW, I feel like if you're driving behind a BMW, you know what you're getting, right?
Yeah, the taillights are pretty iconic.
And these are the LED.
Yeah, these are LED lights.
You've got your dual exhaust, love it. Also trunk space, plenty of trunk space. I don't know what in terms of cubic feet, but definitely I could like sit here comfortably. All right, sorry, I took over your car. I'm in the driver's seat now. But you do have some extra options and features. What are the 3 main options that you opted for?
I had a couple requirements, but this was the cheapest one with my requirements. And that was having the heads-up display. It says the speed, and if you're using the navigation through the car, it shows turn-by-turn directions. And what's super cool, what I like, is when you're setting cruise control, you can set the cruise control and see it in the heads-up display.
Okay, so heads-up display, what else did you need in your car?
So this one has the wider infotainment system. So what's super cool about the wider infotainment system is it allows for 2 separate views at the same time. So you can have the wide view of the map, so you see where you're, like how far you are from your target, and then you also can see the street view, so you know where to make a right turn or a left turn.
You can program all these buttons to do different things, right?
Yeah, so classic BMW is you have these 1 through 8 buttons, and they're touch sensitive. If you touch your finger on top of it, it tells you what it's programmed for.
Okay, so you have the larger infotainment screen, and then what else was on your must-have list?
Oh, you gotta have a sunroof. You gotta have it, because when it's hot, you kick the top up. And BMW put these little grills in to allow airflow through the top, which is super cool.
Yeah, it's super nice. They also have that one-touch system, right?
Yeah, 1 touch close, 1 touch open. And a lot of these cars have it, but it has the aero brake in the sunroof, so it doesn't bump, 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 bump.
Yeah.
And if you really are giddy and you don't care about the sound, you can go back a little extra. They do have an option with this base model to have a little bit more performance steering wheel. It has no like thumb rests or anything. It's completely smooth all around. It's a little clunky on the bottom, but it's cool.
In this model, the 2012, we added a drive setting. So we've got Sport and Eco Pro now.
So the Eco Pro changes the throttle mapping. So instead of a small movement giving a lot of throttle, you make a bigger movement for the same input. So it's easier to go slower. Comfort's the usual, but if you're driving a little more performance, you want the sport. So you have the more accelerated throttle map. Also, it hardens up the steering wheel and creates more of an input, giving the feel of a performance car. When you're performance driving, I'll be in sport, and then I'll be in manual shifting mode, so you can just hold the gear and it's not shifting randomly.
Yeah. The other thing I noticed too, okay, so in a lot of new cars, you have that automatic start-stop that you either love or hate, but in 2012, I feel like people didn't love the start-stop. I feel like it's smidge better, but what did you do to combat that?
BMW has a secret agreement with their customers that they will code the car special to make it permanent. Whatever you set the start-stop to, it stays no matter how long until you press it again.
So, in other words, if I go to my local BMW dealership and I say, hey friends, I want the start-stop off, can you hook your sister up? They will do it.
For sure.
Cool. Well, thanks for showing me your ride. Do you mind if I take it up for a little test drive around the block?
As long as you bring it back.
Okay, so let's talk about the sound for a second. This is not a diesel, but it's giving me some diesel vibes. Have you heard that before?
Yeah, the 2-liter has a ticky low sound. It just idles and it's ticky low. It's really smooth. You don't feel it.
What else do people say about this 4-cylinder? What do you say about it?
It's got good low end torque and it pushes. It revs high enough. It's like 6,500 RPM or something.
So low end torque, high end performance.
Yeah, and the 8-speed gives a great option to what gear you want to be in.
Yeah.
If you want, you take the shift lever and push it over to the left. Now you're in sport transmission.
And okay, so no paddle shifters. So if you want to put it into your manual select or manual shift experience, you have to do it on the 2012. On other subsequent models, you would have the paddle shifters here, but you act like a...
If you look really hard on the internet, you can find some of these cars with a paddle.
Okay.
And let's say you're really passionate and you want a paddle, you can do it yourself for $800 or so.
She's cutting through, having a little fun. Everybody hold on to your hats. I'm gonna do a turn. Don't throw up. I mean...
Oh yeah, traction control.
Yes.
Kick it, yeah, woo! What's our fuel efficiency?
What are we in?
23 right now, and I've been pushing it for the last couple days.
Okay, so 23. So what does it normally get? What's your EPA? What's your normal fuel that you get?
It can do 26, and I've seen 28 from highway, but 25 is about average.
All right. Well, thanks for letting me drive your car. Thanks for trusting me.
You're welcome. Are you gonna let me drive your car?
Okay, we gotta go. Our time is over.
Welcome to Motor Spins. I'm your host, Joe Lombardi, and next to me is a beautiful car. This is a 2021 Aston Martin DBX. Now, this is Aston Martin's first foray into the SUV market, and mostly it's because of the upswing in needs for crossovers and SUVs by pretty much every manufacturer, including the likes of Bentley, Rolls-Royce, Lamborghini, Porsche. Name it, they probably have an SUV now. And Aston Martin wanted to join the club. But this is actually a pretty special car regardless of the modern trends, because this actually is a unique chassis. This is built specifically for the DBX, so it doesn't share with any other car, unlike its competitors like Lamborghini and Bentley, who harken all the way back to a Volkswagen Tiguan. Not hating on it, I'm just pointing it out. So, it was made for the 2020 model year, and it is powered by AMG's GT engine. This is a twin-turbo V8. Mercedes-Benz owns about 5% of Aston Martin, which is actually beneficial in my opinion, because that means that Mercedes-Benz is able to lend them some engines, some technology. They're well renowned for being a luxury car company that makes beautiful vehicles. So, you know, I think this badge means more than the Bond films personally. So it is nice to see it large and in charge up here up front. So we have the traditional Aston Martin grille with the semi-heritage slats that go across with these vertical cross beams. So you'll probably be noticing something else here, and that's the paint. This is a beautiful exterior color, and it is an expensive option. It's a $10,000 paint job. It's called Satin Xenon Gray, and it just has this gunmetal kind of finish to it. It's a very stealthy look, but it also kind of kind of a show-off paint in my opinion, just because it's kind of flashy at the same time. It's putting out around 545 horsepower, about 515 foot-pounds of torque, and it sends this car 0 to 60 in around 4.2, 4.3 seconds. But again, Aston Martins aren't really all about numbers, even though they did just win Le Mans GT class last year. Shout outs to Aston Martin. It's all about being an opulent luxury car. So let's go around to the side and see really what they did to the rest of the bodywork. All right, come along to the side. We have a few things to talk about here. First of all, let's point out these wheels. Now, these are optional wheels, and they are called the satin ribbon wheels. These are a lot to look at. There's a lot going on here. There's some bronze and you know, some matte. All right, so looking under the hood, we see right up front the beautiful 4-liter twin-turbo V8. And again, this is an AMG-sourced engine, so you're getting that same engine you get in the AMG GT, the GTS, the GT AMG Coupe that they, or I'm sorry, the GT 4-door that they released, and a bunch of other AMG products. And that's not a bad thing, because a lot of people do claim this is one of the greatest V8s ever made. I am prone to agree with that. All right, so a really cool feature about Aston Martins is the way they operate with the doors. The doors itself, the door handles, are flush with the body, but if you push in where these double dots are, you get a nice little handle. But the way they did this, they actually said this is because they want you to shake hands with the car so you get to know it a little bit better, which is, I mean, I'll buy it. It's kind of cool. So you pull, and then you get the swan door. Now, this is the famous Aston Martin design, the swan door. You can push this about 50, 60 grand above that base price, give or take. But the one we're sitting in right now, it falls around $220,000. And again, a lot of that is from that paint job being 10 grand, the wheels being about 5 grand, this like interior luxury pack being around 6, 7 grand. So there is a good amount of options in here. But again, if you're gonna get a DBX, if you're gonna get an Aston Martin, you're gonna have to expect to pay a lot more than you probably are used to, unless this is a normal thing for you. But I don't know, in my opinion, if you're considering this, there is other options. There's faster options. Obviously the Lamborghini will get you a faster 0 to 60 time, but there's something so elegant about this car. I mean, I just think this is like a really special vehicle, and I think it's a beautiful fashion statement. There's just something so nice about sitting in here, and I think that will translate to whoever you show this to as well. So nice job, Aston Martin. Good work. Okay, setting off in the 2021 Aston Martin DBX. Now, there is a lot of buttons on here, as I mentioned before, but really the main things you need to realize is this is going to control your center screen. So if you want to do anything, you just press this in to cancel. You can flip around to different parts of it like this, and you can adjust really different information. You can also put a map display up top. Also, you have voice command as well as some volume control. And then on the left side is mostly controlling your cruise control, as well as your adaptive cruise control and other things like that, as well as your Bluetooth calling. So with that in mind, again, when you turn the wheel here, you do see that the paddles stay in place. So these paddle shifters are fixed on the column, which is nice. Anyways, okay, so let's get started here. So we're going to start in our GT mode, which is our comfortable cruising mode. So let's see how comfortable this car is. Because again, Aston Martins are sports cars, yes, but they're also luxury cars. So let's see what the DBX can do for comfort. So obviously when you're cruising around here, you do feel comfortable because you are up high and you do have an air suspension system. So it is soaking the bumps up. But I mean, it's like, I just feel like every time I just tap this throttle, it's gonna wanna like take off. So I will say, if you want a more luxury car or SUV, probably smart to go with more of like a Rolls Royce or maybe even a Bentley. I can tell you right now, this car really does want to drive very fast. So without much further ado, let's drop this down with our mode button here. Let's go into our sport mode, which you can see here, it puts the suspension, our steering, and our engine, as well as our exhaust system, into a sportier mode. The gauges change to red, and yeah, I mean, it's it looks more aggressive, that's for sure. So we're gonna leave it in automatic mode just because I want to see what the transmission does. I didn't mention this before, but this actually has Mercedes' new 9-speed automatic transmission. So let's see what it can do. Okay, there's a lot of push. Now, it's not initially jarring off the line. You do get a lot of pull from the top end of the RPM, but you're not really getting thrown back in your seat too hard. But again, it's trying to manage luxury and sport, so you do get a really nice pull, but you're not going to be uncomfortable the whole time. So let's toss this into a few downshifts here and see what we can do around this corner, because again, being an SUV with a performance edge, this is supposed to handle corners good. So let's see what this can do. Wow, okay. This handles like a car. It's crazy. This doesn't even feel like it's lifted up into the air. So you have a lot of oversteer if you really push it. It is an all-wheel drive system, but again, I just felt like this thing wanted to kick out with it, pretty much any throttle input there. So again, that 9-speed automatic transmission is definitely very responsive, although I do have to say there is a little bit of hesitation between the downs and the ups. I'm not sure if that was done intentionally for the off-terrain modes that this has in it. I don't know if there's any benefit to it, but this isn't the snappiest gear rush. But when it does actually put you into gear, it kicks you into gear. I mean, I felt that in the back. It's definitely a loud car too. I mean, as I said, like you're well isolated with these windows being double paned and that convenience pack keeping us nice and quiet in here. So we're just getting like the remnants of a loud sports car, but yeah, I mean, you can tell this thing is ready to take off at any moment. You can tell this thing just wants to pop and crack. It's just fun. This is a fun car. There's also a police officer, so we're gonna behave ourselves for a second here. All right, let's come to a stop. So again, just sitting here at a stoplight, I have to say, like, you know, the car itself is a whole experience, even in the segment of the ultra luxury vehicles. So I guess this is a good way to stick out of the crowd, because I don't think there's very many of these. As I said, they're like about 1,500 in total around the world. So if you want to prioritize being unique, I think this is a great option. I think this is a fantastic vehicle. And again, I love Aston Martin as a company because they really want to keep the old school alive with the way they make their cars. They want to keep the coach building aspect alive. And I have to say, I really appreciate them sticking to their mission statement. Thanks for tuning into Motor Spins. I've been your host, and this has been an Aston Martin DBX. Thanks for riding along with me, because I've certainly had a good time and definitely felt posh. So I'll catch you guys on the next one.